Guys before, the men afterward. Tamea, are you married?
No.
Neither am I. But I think we should pay attention to that. Well, especially actually if it's going to be afterward.
Yeah.
Tamea Burd joining us right now, photographer extraordinaire. She does a little bit of everything. And now we're talking about wedding season as we get into the summer. A lot of weddings ramping up. So the big question is, I'm going to get married. Well, I'm not going to, but if someone's going to get married, and they want to find a photographer, where do they start?
I know it can be really, really intimidating because there's a lot of photographers out there, and I've found when people call me, a lot of the times they have no idea what to ask me, and I end up coaching them through what they should be asking me. So what we're going to talk about today a little bit is where you can find someone and the questions you absolutely should ask before you make a decision to hire anybody.
So where should we start looking?
The best way, hands down, is to ask your married friends who they got to shoot their wedding, if you like their wedding photos, and if they were happy with their photos, can they recommend a photographer to you? And ask several of your married friends, so you'll get usually 4 or 5 referrals. And after you do that, I also suggest that you go online, type into Google like the keywords you're looking for. If you're getting married in Coquitlam, type Coquitlam wedding photographer, Vancouver, so on. Take a good look at every single photographer's site before you contact them. Make sure that their style is the style that you like. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be wasting your time or the photographer's time having a meeting with them and then realizing, wait a minute, I don't like what they do. So take the time to check out their site thoroughly and be sure you really like what they do before you make a consultation.
Now, what are the important things? I mean, having worked in the wedding business, I think the relationship is key and a mutual understanding is key with the couple and the photographer, videographer. What are the important things the couple needs to communicate to the photographer to make sure their essence has been captured?
Well, capturing the essence is a really important thing, and I think when you first inquire, whether you phone or whether you email, you need to give some key points to make sure that that photographer is the right person for you before you even meet with them. You have to make sure, you have to tell them the date, the amount of time you're looking for, your location. That way, if that photographer is not available, they can tell you right then and there, or if they are, they can also tell you. So that very basic, simple thing is really important. And then you also want to speak to them and find out what style they tend to shoot in. You want to know if they do just sort of candids or if they do more posed and formal or if they do a mix of both. Ideally, you want a mix of both.
What's most popular now? We're going to look at some of your samples, but
sure.
What's most popular in terms
Candids by far.
Yeah?
Candids are definitely the most popular. It's this sort of the photojournalism style where the photographer is sort of as unobtrusively as possible just walking around taking shots of the entire day.
Yeah, and price point, obviously this is huge for
price
all the
point
couples.
is a huge one, and funny that I should forget that one because that one's humongously important. That's something else you should inquire before you even meet with for a consultation, is what the price point of the photographer is. If you find that they're way outside of your range, above your range, don't book their consultation because most photographers charge what they do for a reason. Yeah. And
what's the expectation though in terms of what people should budget for something like this in terms of a range?
I find depends. Different photographers offer different packages, and there's a lot of things you should watch out for. When you get someone to give you a quote, make sure that it includes everything. You will find sometimes that you've been given a quote, and all that is for the time the photographer's there in your day. It's not for anything extra. If you want your photos on disc, it's extra. If you want photoshopping done, it's extra. Mm-hmm. So be sure to ask what is included in that rate. Are taxes included? So that you know exactly how much money you can expect to pay.
And what's the expectation in terms of deposit for what people
Deposit depends. Personally, I charge 20%. Yeah. Most people charge either 20% or they'll do it in thirds. A third before, a third the day of, a third after. Some photographers expect to be paid the day of the ceremony or right before in full. Others will invoice you. I think it's more common to expect to pay your photographer either like within a few days before or the day of the ceremony.
Important tips. It's always, I guess, being aware of what you're getting before you jump in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome stuff, Tamea. Breakfasttelevision.ca is where you can go to find out more about Tamea, and it's a big decision coming.